Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristin.
And this is who I'm watching. Desperate Housewives, Season 1, Episode 15.
Impossible. Not on the screen. Although I can take that down.
No, I mean, I wasn't going to start with Justin, although that's a perfectly good place to start. Rodgers and Hammerstein. Is what I was going to say is I'm firmly on the record as loving an ensemble. And I think that a large portion of that was born from this show and Lost.
Sure.
Because this is when I was sort of like honing my style of like storytelling and all of that. And I do love, I love what a mythos this show brings.
Yeah.
Like from the
what it builds
first
up.
episode, it's like, look at this wealth of information and characters and traits and locations to just immerse yourself. And I love it. And they'll bring in, there's a little bit of a rotating door of characters. And like even some characters who only have, like, because Julie Benz, I think, is only in like 5 or 6 episodes of the show. She's a stripper named Robin. She's only in a handful of episodes, but she's like, they're important characters. And I love the cast of characters. And it's like Justin is an interesting one because we've technically met him before. And he spends like 2/3 of this episode being pretty despicable.
Get out of my bedroom.
Come on, Mrs. Solis, be nice.
Do you know how easy it would be for me to call my husband and tell him what you just tried to do?
Not as easy as it'd be for me to tell him what happened between you and John.
Yeah.
But
once you get the reason why, I'm like, okay, you're fine. Like,
well, and then to have, you know, each episode sort of begins and ends with Mary Alice sort of like waxing poetic over the events, and to have him be one of the people that's being showcased. It's like, though he's a day player or like a bit player, I like that his story, he matters and his story matters. And the same thing with Danielle. It's like we've only really gotten to know Danielle in passing, but this is, I would say, the first story that's about her.
Yeah. You know what I just had a thought? I wonder if Brenda Strong and Kristen Bell ever got together. They were just like doing voiceover at the same time. Just voiceover, making bank for the easiest work of their lives.
Well, and not to discredit what they're doing, though.
No, it's great.
Great work. But
like, you don't have to get in hair and makeup. You don't have to get in costume. You just show up and sit in a booth and read your lines.
But I love something, and it's things like that I think keep the show fresh, that there's just a wealth of characters and like plots and people to get to know. Because also, I mean, we're going on like, what, 4 episodes without Edie?
Yeah.
That's like a lot. So, and I really like this episode. It's interesting. So Justin, I told you he was gay. I forgot that it had a plot based. I wouldn't have told.
No, it's fine.
Mentioned that. But
I you know what would have happened if you hadn't told me? Gabby would have gotten to his place and he would have been like, I need you to have sex with me. And I would have been like, what, is he gay?
Basically, Justin's afraid, he's John's friend, and he's afraid that he might be gay because he's been messing around with a friend and tale as old as time.
Yeah.
And he thinks that he sees Gabby as an opportunity to try it out.
Yeah.
Just lately I've been starting to like care about him, and I don't know how to handle it.
Wow.
Yeah, and I thought if I sleep with somebody like you, I'll know for sure, and I can stop freaking out about this.
His logic is partially flawed.
Well, for him, I think he believes it's like a mutually assured destruction. And honestly, his reasoning about...
I mean, granted, I am technically pansexual, but I'm just sort of like, I that's not going to give you the answer that, I don't know.
Maybe it's just that you're not attracted to older women?
Well, no, but I'm like, that wouldn't work for me.
Well, sure. The other thing, too, for my money is, if you've been messing around with your dude friend for that long, you at least do like boys. You might still like girls, but you definitely like boys. You're bisexual at least.
You are correct. However, that is not the male experience.
No, I'm aware. I think it should be. I know that it's not. But the other thing I was going to say is I understand his reasoning for, she's like, why don't you try it with a girl that you go to school with, like someone that's your age or whatever.
Someone your own age, to which I said, if
Well,
you want
it
to watch
is
along
rich,
with us,
yeah.
rich coming from Gabrielle Solis.
Yeah. But regardless, it's a good point. But then his point of if it doesn't work out, like if he can't get it up with a girl from school, it's going to be all over school the next day, which I get. That's a fair concern.
It is. So yeah, that word will spread in the aughts, in the social circles.
Absolutely. I think maybe not now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not now.
Well, to it, because
certainly, like, I guess
I don't know. We are so out of our
high school, I have no idea, but like us as adults, I don't know that our social circle is also much smaller, but I don't know that I just go like screaming from the rooftops that like some dude couldn't get it up. I don't know.
Well, because I was also going to say, this is cutting a little bit to the end, but when Susan walks in on Justin and who we find out to be Andrew.
Yeah.
Julie Alexandra Meyer, you can't hold your breath forever. Oh, you might as well just stay under there and never come up for air, because when you do, I'm gonna choke the living daylights out of you. Oh, is my daughter under there? Oh.
I'm not gay.
Oh.
I forgot that she technically did see them kissing, but I was like, boy, skinny dipping isn't like.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not a guarantee that something
Shady
suspect is happening.
Yeah. I like Andrew is then quite a bit 2 years younger. What's his name again? The other one?
Justin.
If Justin is John's friend and John is 18, and then we got a hard 16 on
Danielle.
I'm not saying it in any weird
No, they
way,
play it fast and loose
but-
with some of the ages, because Danielle said something to Julie implying they were peers, and it's
Yeah.
like when you're 14, a year makes a big difference. When you're 38, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, I also was 14 dating an 18-year-old in high school. In retrospect, it was gross.
But only Susan saw. Bree was doing the laundry, because that's what she does, and she found the condom and accosted Rex. It checked. It made sense. To which Rex was like,
well, I'm not the only guy in this house that uses that hamper.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Which their logic is flawed, but don't tell them that.
Well, then Andrew throws Danielle under the bus.
The condom wasn't mine.
You suck, you know that?
He really did.
Because when we found out it was Danielle's, I was like, I mean, also get it. That condom was green. Like, nice job.
Was there anything else that Bree did?
No, I mean, she was like, again, trying to like force Rex to parent the children, and he's not doing any of that. Because he just was like, do you want your son to be abstinent or do you want to be a grandmother, essentially? And because, again, assumptions were made. And I just also did love Danielle, where she was like, what are you doing with a condom? And she goes,
because I'm planning on having sex and I don't want to get pregnant.
just brilliant. Love that. That's exactly right.
So then we have Lynette and Tom's storyline. He's up for a promotion. His buddy gets it, and then his buddy has presumably a heart attack.
Has to get triple bypass.
Playing baseball, and Tom gets the promotion, and Lynette sabotages it. Okay, a couple things that I want to say here. For starters, I really love the scene at the baseball game when Tom is narrating like a sportscaster as the guy is like going around the base, and Lynette is loving it.
Look at that job-stealing bastard run. Dugan is really showing some of that glory-hounding, ass-kissing hustle that he is so well known for.
I love when shows like this take time to actually show us, because marriage so frequently is presented like it's some huge obstacle, some huge burden in your life.
Oh yeah.
And I like that you in that moment you're like, I see how these two people are married.
Yeah, totally.
Weirdly, a show that does it is Family Guy. Lois and Peter have the same sense of humor.
Hey, Lois.
What?
Diarrhea.
Pete, I'm holding iced tea.
And
I was gonna say Bob's Burgers too.
They'll take moments to show them actually enjoying each other in ways that you're like, this show, I wouldn't expect it from this show, but it's nice that they did it.
One of my, literally one of my favorite Bob's Burgers things is like the kids are unexpectedly out of the house for the night and Bob and Linda are having a conversation and Linda just goes,
all right, sex time.
Oh my God, right. We can do that because they're gone.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
and he's like, oh, that's right. We can do that tonight. It's just so silly. And you just can like tell they love each other. I love it.
And, there's a lot to criticize and comment on Tom, on his behavior and his decisions and choices and stuff. And I do find it interesting that we get to see Lynette make a questionable decision.
He makes one first.
You're going after Tim Dugan's promotion?
No, I already got it. You know what? Still, he gave me the job. Honey, it's me. I'm the man. I got the whole West Coast.
Oh my, what? What? I thought you were going after an in-house position.
No. I'm setting up new offices from Seattle to LA. I told you that.
Sure.
She did not know the whole scope of this promotion and the fact that he's getting double the like space or whatever. He's going to be traveling twice as much. He's not going to be home even less than he is now. She didn't know that. He did not make that clear to her and he just wants it because it's what he's supposed to have. I don't think she did the right thing.
What is wrong? Aren't you happy about this promotion?
He'll be bringing in more money, but he is going to miss the birthdays, baseball games, first steps. I just hope one day Tom doesn't look back and regret being gone so much.
But she did the right thing for her family.
But it still involved deception. What I'm praising the show is that we end it on that note.
Yeah.
Of her sort of like
regretting it.
Well, I wouldn't even go that far. The reality of
she's having second thoughts.
Yeah, well, yeah, because she now technically has kind of emasculated him in a way that she has a reputation for being that way, and one that I think she would reject and resent, and yet it's coming from somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think kind of putting that there was a lot of ambiguity all over this entire episode, and I think that's interesting because another thing that I actually really loved, going back to Gabby and Justin, is she does kiss him, and it's played for comedy as like, see, you're gay because if I kissed you, and that was the point I was making, like it would have worked. But I love that, and again, to my recollection, it doesn't come up again. That she doesn't have to tell Carlos. It doesn't.
Well, good. She still hasn't told him about John. Oh.
Sure. But I think that's sort of like, that's a little bit more what I'm talking about, where like life is full of little moments in the woods.
Back to life, back to sense, back to child, back to husband. You can't live in the woods.
Just sometimes all you need is a moment in the woods.
Yeah.
But no, that wasn't a betrayal. I mean, I guess on a technical sense, she kissed another man, but it wasn't.
No.
Yeah, and so it's like there's little indiscretions kind of throughout the entire episode that I just think is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because we start the episode with one, because as we failed to mention last week.
Yes.
With the twins stealing spree, they found Martha Hooper's bracelet and ring in Mike's garage. So the women, the core four housewives, find it and are aware of it, and in the beginning of the episode, they decide to call the cops on Mike.
So should I just dial 911?
Well, it's not really an emergency.
There was a murder.
Well, not recently, and I'd prefer not to tie up the line.
Will you just call?
Okay. Here's the thing. I wouldn't call the cops.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because at the beginning, Susan and Lynette, too. Lynette sticks up, and they are certain that Mike couldn't have been involved. There's, like, no way. So, Bree seems to be mostly the only one that's interested in actually calling the cops. Aside from that, I don't know. It's a very bizarre, like, thing. But then it appears that Susan sets up, like, a sting.
I think that's for the TV of it all.
Called you twice. You avoiding me?
Don't be silly. Why would I do that? No, I've just been really busy
How about dinner?
Dinner?
Okay, it was bad then. That was not great TV because she's like getting groceries.
It was very funny.
Well, it was funny, but it's like she's like getting groceries because so she's certain he didn't do it, but they still call the cops. And then like 40 police officers surround Susan's house while Mike is in the driveway.
It was like 7.
Too many. It's too many. And they're like telling her to get down. It's all very bizarre. So she like rolls out of the way.
You okay?
Can you hold these a sec?
Up against the car.
At no point is he annoyed with her. She clearly knew what was going on. I don't know. He gets back from jail because she realizes that she's his alibi because they were having sex that night for the first time. And Julie, very embarrassingly, has to back up that alibi by saying there were men's boxers in the hamper and she made heart-shaped pancakes the next morning.
It's good. You can let Mike go. He's innocent.
Well, assuming everything you're telling me is true.
It's true. The next morning, she made pancakes in the shape of little hearts. Seriously, little hearts.
And Julie is like, cringe mom. Gross. And so he gets back from jail and she just like waltzes across the street. I love you so much. Oh my God, I'm glad everything's okay. And I'm like, you did this. I don't know.
I mean, it largely checks for me. Sure, if you're looking to poke holes, there are holes there to poke. But yeah, so in doing this, in this process, she finds out that because she's certain that he couldn't kill someone. And so they find out that he has a charge from, I forget how many years.
It's
the
a
assumption is
couple.
when he's like 20, in his
like
20s.
Drugs and manslaughter.
Which is...
From 1987.
Yeah, and manslaughter is not murder.
Not great.
It's not, I'm not saying it's great, but I'm saying you could, if she asked, which this didn't happen, but if she asked him if you ever murdered somebody, he could say no.
I did
I'm
particularly
manslaughter to somebody. The manslaughter is a death. I was involved in actions that led to the death of a person. Yeah. So now she's fickle. I think that is what keeps him from having the upper hand. Is it's like,
yeah, she also refuses to let him explain, which I assume there is at least some sort of explanation where it's like, I had 3 grams of pot on me, and like it's just. I mean,
I don't recall too much. I think he just dealt drugs when he was 20. Like, who amongst us hasn't been an accessory to
dealt drugs? No, I think most drug charges are like one dude drug charges are largely bogus. But it's whatever. I know that it's gonna eventually come out, so it's whatever. So he like goes to Noah and he's like, who do they think you killed? And he's like talking about her while he's eating 2 pieces of pie and a piece of cake.
Decided to indulge your sweet tooth, huh?
I'll be dead inside a year. I got bigger things to worry about than my waistline.
Love that for you. He was like, I am dying, so I'm not really worried about it. And I was like, good call. That's a good call.
Because I was going to make a John Larroquette joke from Kitchen Confidential.
Yeah. Or Alan Alda Alan Arkin from Little Miss Sunshine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because we see Noah again at the end eating the largest,
That's
weirdest...
the actor's name.
No, that's the character's name.
His name was Bob.
That's his actor name.
Oh. Oops.
Yeah. So he's eating a really weird piece of apple pie, I think, at the end. Unless that was a scoop of mashed potatoes.
It was a pot pie with it.
It was really weirdly set designed food.
It was probably fake.
Huh?
It was probably fake.
Well, yeah. And so he's meeting with one of the cops, the one that called Susan a sucker.
Implying that he's like paying them off or they're working for him?
Something, but I don't know why they would, unless he's just trying to distance Mike from Susan because he can tell he's getting attached. But it doesn't really make sense for him to be trying to get Mike arrested. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
No, I don't recall the minutia. So that because also based on what I remember, the timeline is still weird. So there must be a whole element I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
And then we spent the rest of the episode with Zach's pool party. You know,
he's weird because he like comes to invite Julie and he gives her this invitation. They are really insane invitations for like a 14-year-old's pool party.
Oh, I just wanted to deliver this personally. I'm having a party.
Yeah, no 14-year-olds we knew had invitations for pool parties that were actually...
You weren't handing them out to the whole school.
No, well, to my friends, but still.
What is wrong with nice invitations?
Mom, it's a pool party.
Why couldn't you have just passed out flyers in the quad?
There was lots of mermaid clip art.
Yes, okay.
On printed out invitations.
But would you have handed out that invitation to whoever our high school equivalent of Andrew was?
No.
Exactly.
No. Well, actually, at that point, yes. That's not.
No, we
that
didn't get
doesn't.
to that.
No.
And so she's like, I can't go to this. My mom will not let me go. And he's like, well, I'm doing it for you. Hi.
I forgot. I made the Corey, what's his face from Halloween Ends, I guess. I made that joke a couple episodes ago, and I forgot how much it's not a joke.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't kidding. And so, because he's trying to win Julie back, and she's like open. She's like
going along with it for a while until he makes a joke about shooting someone.
I'd take care of him if I wanted to.
What do you mean?
I know where my mom kept her gun.
That's not funny, Zach.
I don't know that it was a joke so much as it was a very credible threat.
He carries it off as a joke.
He says, I know where my mom's gun is, and proceeds to imitate target practice with Andrew, which, I mean, Andrew probably deserves to get shot, but not in this way, not like this, because he was just being terrible the entire time.
Also, lest we forget, he ran over Mama Solis, and we still have seen no consequences for that either.
I mean, I kind of forgot. It had been 2 weeks.
So
I'm glad you brought that back up.
She's still in a coma.
So anyways, Danielle breaks up with John.
Well,
John breaks up with Danielle at Bree's
behest.
Yeah. And Danielle and Julie go home. And I kind of like that. I kind of wish this is what happens to me with these shows all the time, because it happens a lot with teen shows where it's like I get invested in the parents. And so this is a reverse where I'm like, oh, but spend more time with like the high school kids. I was like, I want to see more of that, because you get the sense that like it's actually one of my favorite dynamics. It's a cornerstone of Fairy Tale by Fairytale on Amazon.com. It's like the cool, like learned, like sophisticated, worldly, that's the word I'm looking for. The cool, worldly, popular girl, and then like the up and coming, like ingenue type who...
I don't think either of them are cool, popular girls.
Danielle's popular.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Vanderkamp, yeah, they're Andrew and Danielle.
Okay.
And with like Julie being a year younger and stuff, like there's a lot of plot real estate that they could explore with that I don't really think they do, and it's not quite that show. My point is I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then Mike and Susan fight.
They break up.
Yeah.
She's like, get away from me, basically.
Susan, I came to Wysteria Lane.
Stop, Mike. Just stop. If you keep talking, you're gonna work your way into my heart. And I just don't want you anywhere near my heart. Ever.
I mean, it largely, it strings together.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think that's that for that episode.
Oh, Carlos and Gabby think they might have to sell their house.
Yeah.
But I suspect something is coming around the mountain. Because I know they don't move into an apartment.
Okay, well, we're going to watch the next episode, and we'll be back when we're done.
Bye.